5 seconds to the open. You ready?
Who wants to get this thing started right about now?
Welcome to Follow the Money Weekly with your host, Jerry Robinson.
Welcome.
Not just some guru.
Oh, really?
Your host is an economist and a best-selling author.
What an interesting news item. I'd better write that down.
And just someone who likes to make money and help you to make money. Welcome to Follow the Money Weekly. And here he is, Jerry Robinson.
Friends, welcome to you all around the world. Welcome to Follow the Money Radio. So grateful to have you along for today's broadcast. We're going to be talking with our good friend Tom Cloud today on the program. He is a precious metals advisor. He's been in the business since 1977, I believe. So he's been around for a while, providing advice to people just like you on gold and silver and how to invest in precious metals. And in fact, today we've entitled today's broadcast, The World's Most Precious Metal. And that's kind of a tantalizing title. What are we talking about? Well, you know, there's probably other precious metals that might be a bit more rare, rhodium, or, you might be able to find some. But the one we're focusing on today is platinum. Platinum. I've been watching platinum on the charts set up now for a little bit of time over the last several months. And I talked to Tom Cloud earlier last week, and he said it's probably about time for us to talk about the growing fundamental story behind this little-known metal known as platinum. When people think of platinum, they think of hit records. You get a platinum record or something like that in the music business, but people don't really tend to think about investing in platinum. What is platinum? Is it worthy of your investment dollars? Does it deserve a place in your portfolio? Well, that'll be what we'll be talking about today with Tom Cloud, and we're going to bring him on here in just a moment. Before we do, I have two quick announcements. For all of you who are gold members of Follow the Money, I want to tell you we are beginning a new series that'll be going over several weeks where we're going to be covering the 5 strategic trends of 2018. We're going to be talking about some different areas that are really, I think, beneficial for the new trader or the new investor to be focused on. And that occurs every Tuesday morning live at 10 a.m. Central Time, right there on followthemoney.com. For all gold members, you can dial right in and you can join us on our private group coaching calls. And then for all of our platinum members, not to confuse you with the word platinum, but we do have a platinum level membership. For all of our platinum members, we have a new options trading university coming up, 5 hours of just great options teaching. So if you've ever wanted to learn how to trade options, if it's something that you've wanted to do, but you didn't have the right strategy, or you didn't have the right teacher, or you're just kind of confused about options, our platinum membership is going to be hosting this. We're actually going to be providing this on Fridays live at 10 o'clock Central Time, starting at the end of this month, the 28th of September. So we're looking forward to having those of you who are platinum members joining us. And if you're not currently a member, you can go to our website, followthemoney.com/subscriptions, choose your plan, and become a member. We'd love to have you as a part of our growing community. We have a global community of traders and investors and of just global observers who like to be cognizant of the times that we live in and want to know about opportunities that might exist, for their investment portfolios or for whatever they're into. Everybody has their own shtick. Everybody has their own reason for the information that they ingest. And we provide some very good, actionable insights for many, many people around the world. We'd love to have you be a part of that. Followthemoney.com/subscriptions. If you want to be a part of those upcoming coaching sessions, we're going to be doing one on options for all of our platinum members and one on the 5 strategic trends. We're talking about geopolitical and global trends that you can profit from. We'll be talking about that with our gold members. All right, with all that said, I want to move right now into today's interview with Tom Cloud on the topic of the world's most precious metal. That is the metal platinum. Let's head over to that interview right now. All right, well, joining me on the line today is my longtime friend, someone you know very well from listening to the Follow the Money podcast over the many, many years we've been doing this, my good friend Tom Cloud. He is a precious metals advisor. He has been advising clients, not just here in the United States, but all over the world, on investing in precious metals. And when we talk about precious metals, we're talking about, of course, things like gold and things like silver, things like palladium and things like platinum. And of course, platinum is going to be the focus of our call today. We started this podcast back in 2010, in the not the depths, but in the wake of the 2008 crash. And our message has not changed. It's always been that money is not paper. Money is something that's tangible. Money is something that's real. And precious metals have been used as money, especially gold and silver, have been used as money for eons, for centuries, for millennia. And it's only in this new era, Tom, that you and I find ourselves in. It's almost like we're men out of time. We're living in this era where all of those concepts about money have gone out the window. We live in a world now where paper is money, and it's quite frankly just fake money. I mean, it's just literally made up. It's fiat-based money issued by the government. It's faith-based money, so we all have to have faith in it. But one day, the message that both you and I have been saying for a long time, and I don't think either one of us are going to change our minds, is that one day this system is going to implode because it is a debt-based system, and debt-based systems cannot be sustainable. It's just simply impossible. That's right. We want to focus on platinum here in this broadcast. 2018, Tom, has been a tough year for many commodities. That certainly includes precious metals, things like gold, silver, palladium, and platinum. Before we dive in and focus in on platinum and talk about why it appears to have a compelling, it certainly has some compelling fundamentals when you look at it. But before we dive in and take a look at platinum, let's explain for those who are brand new to the concept of precious metals what the difference is between these four precious metals. You have gold, you have silver, you have palladium, you have platinum. Most people have heard, obviously, of gold and silver. They know that they can invest in those. Well, let's just briefly discuss the difference between these four metals. What's the difference?
Well, gold was money for a long time. Silver has been used as money coming and going throughout 6,000 years of history. But gold, all the way from Genesis, second chapter up until 1971, gold was money. You carried around paper that was, you could go in any time, take your $20 bill in and get back your .9675 $20 gold piece. But certainly all that stopped, and so gold has a much bigger history as money than the other metals do. But other metals also have had heavier uses in industry and more specified in industry. And certainly silver sits there, as you said, with fundamentals today that are unbelievable, even though the price has been extremely disappointing in silver. But platinum comes in, and you look at it, the catalytic converter, the auto catalyst business, and we know that either platinum or palladium can fill that void because we know that both of them have different melting points. So when an automaker sees an opportunity, auto catalyst maker sees the opportunity to cut his cost. To give you an example, when platinum hit 2,000 an ounce 7 years ago, palladium was down at 300, and all the car companies started selling their platinum inventory and buying palladium. We saw palladium go from 300 to 1,000, just 6 months ago. It had tripled on a buy signal that we were given, and many of y'all participated in it. But to see when palladium higher than platinum, and platinum at only 66% of the price of gold, when platinum's always been higher price than gold until the last year and a half or so, and now it's selling this big discount at a time the fundamentals. And let me say, on a technical basis, we do think it reached a multi-year low about 6 weeks ago at 756, and today it's at 789. And I know, Jerry, we talked about earlier on charts, it wouldn't be a classic buy signal for a technical trader. But for a fundamental person like myself that knows what's going on, as we're talking, the Platinum Guild is meeting in New York, the biggest meeting of the year, for 2 days. And I've already had 2 calls from that meeting to give me information. But Platinum looks set to take back over a lot of the catalytic converter business. The glass business is just exploding. And then we can go into Palladium has uses also primarily in the auto catalytic converter. It's much more specified and doesn't have the jewelry demand that Platinum is just exploding in jewelry, and especially in fuel cell electric vehicles that Palladium can't match up in. So we're seeing now that China just announced by 2030, just 12 years away, they'll have 7 million vehicles that are fuel cell electric vehicles that'll need platinum in them. And then the glass portion is just exploding, where you're looking at every ultra high definition television screen, the new screens on the high definition cell phones, and you look at what they're now calling it smart glass and optic fiber business. But I just don't see anything lower risk out there than the precious metals, meaning gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. Palladium being in 4th place, but gold and silver could fight for first place in fundamentals that it's getting ready to take off. And once again, we don't tell you to go out and buy a big percentage, but I definitely get a few ounces of platinum. You know, it comes in 1 ounce. Platinum bars is my preferred because it's COMEX. There'll be demand as people use it in the futures market for deliverable. There'll be COMEX deliverable. Certainly you can buy platinum eagles made by the U.S. Mint or platinum maple leafs, but the premiums are ridiculous. It's got higher premiums than gold does. But the bars are much more realistic, plus they give you more options. So what we're talking about really is taking 1 ounce products, and for the large investor, the 10 ounce platinum bars will save you about $7 an ounce on the purchase, about $70 for 10 ounces. So that's what we're saying you should be buying, and we think the price is imminent to rise very steadily because of these things I've just brought to your attention.
Yeah, and I know our folks have heard a lot about gold and silver over the years. We've certainly talked about, how they have been obviously money throughout time. In addition to that, of course, there's investment demand for gold. There's also industrial demand, a little bit there, but also especially for silver. The palladium and platinum metals are the two that, oftentimes many people, and you know this from being in the business, I mean, they probably just don't have the same demand from investors because there's just less information about them. They're less obvious than gold and silver. Now, when I go back and I look at platinum on the charts, I see that, as you had pointed out, platinum has just recently touched around a 750 low, which you just mentioned about 6 weeks ago. And on a multi-year chart, that's actually extremely bullish because the price action has not been bullish, but that point on the chart is bullish because that's almost the same area that platinum bottomed out back in 2008 when it had a terrible year back in 2008, falling from 2,200 or whatever it was all the way down to about 750. And that occurred all in the space of 2008. But then if you go back even further than that, back in the middle of 2004, that's another area, another time when the price of platinum came down to 750. And I'm looking back on the charts, and every time platinum has touched 750, and that's only happened 2 times before this time. It was once in 2004 and once again in 2008. And both times led to really sharp increases in price. So from a technical perspective, you could build a case that this 750 low is the third one we've had since 2004, and the last 2 have resulted in very large increases in price.
Yeah.
So
let me say one thing and interject there.
Yeah.
One thing is there's 3,000 tons of gold mined annually. And then we have the figures for last year in platinum were about 180 tons. So you're looking at something from that standpoint, as you said. And then the other thing that you touched on, in platinum, only 4% of demand for platinum right now comes from the investor, where in gold is right at 56%, I think it is, 55% of the 3,000 tons of gold coming out of the ground annually is going to investors, where only 4% of 175 tons being mined in platinum, while 22% is going into industrial demand. We talked about in the glass business and the high definition televisions, and the auto catalyst is 40%. So you got 60% in that, but platinum only has 4% going to investors, which is the worst of the four metals, and we haven't had any reason to change until I identified this, and then talked to you, and you confirmed it and actually added to it by going through what you did with the chart. So I can say that, in my opinion, you'll see the platinum investment the next 12 months use up at least 10% of the platinum coming out of the ground instead of 4%, and that alone is going to be enough to move the market into a buy signal for the technical traders. And I always talk to Jerry about technical things when I see something, see if he's seeing the same thing, and I have a couple other guys I do the same thing, and all three of them have told me in the last 2 days that they believe that this touch, second time, third time for platinum to go down is going to be involved in at least a double in the price of platinum over the next few years. So even if it goes up 9% a year, it'll double in 8 years, in the rule of 72. So if you take an investment and divide it 72, it tells you how long to take the investment double if you're holding it. So if it does go up, platinum goes up 9%, in 8 years, it's going to double in value. So just wanted to throw that in, because what we'll see is all the platinum traders coming in, and I know I have quite a few clients that buy their products from me because of the price and the service, but they also use timing services to tell them when to buy. And I'll be quite honest, only one of them, of these about 15 guys, has bought platinum. That the timing service is giving a buy signal and technical analysis. But he looks at the fundamentals and says, hey, I'm not waiting. I have so little risk to the downside, and if it takes a month or 6 months longer to get the big jump that I'm expecting, I'm willing to be in early. So that's always good advice, is to get in there. And once again, the preferred product for me and what I buy for myself is 1 ounce and 10 ounce COMEX bars that are approved for collateral on COMEX to use in the futures market. And one last thing, Jerry, before I throw it back to you. Last Friday is the most positive COT numbers, the commitment of traders, that we've seen in probably 15 months or longer. But I think it's the 6,000 net long contracts added in gold and 4,000 net short contracts taken in silver. So even though the price in 2.5 days of this week, as we record this on Wednesday, did not make that big a difference, but yet it is certainly set to make people believe that people like J.P. Morgan and other people have been heavily on the short side are about ready to profit on the long side, as they did from 2000 to 2011. So we got all kind of things going on that look positive, not only for platinum, but also for gold and silver.
You're listening to the voice of Tom Cloud. He's a precious metals advisor. He's been part of our show now for, since the beginning, all the way going back to 2010. It's great to have you on the program, Tom. I know people enjoy hearing you talk about this stuff. As I'm looking over many of the notes I've made about platinum, I'm a little perplexed, and I think you can help me on this. But I'm looking at platinum, and I'm seeing the fact that, right now it's trading at about 2/3 of what the price of gold is trading for. And that's unusual, as you mentioned. I mean, we haven't seen that in a long time. And in fact, it's typically traded at a premium to gold prices. And if you look at the actual supply of platinum, it's so small. I've seen numbers, and you may be able to clarify this, but I've seen numbers where the total amount of platinum that has ever been mined could actually fit into someone's living room. It's much smaller than the amount of gold, which would fill up, an Olympic-sized swimming pool or two, or maybe even silver, which is more than that. But the amount of platinum that's out there, it's so scarce that you could take all the platinum that's ever been mined and put it into a living room, because we're talking about a very small figure here of platinum. And so I'm looking at the supply figure, seeing how small that it is. I also see that practically 3 out of every 4 ounces that are pulled out of the ground from mining come from one country. They come from South Africa. So you have this country risk in addition to this very small amount of platinum that exists. On top of that, you have this country risk. South Africa is not the most stable country at times. We all know that. And so there's certainly some issues surrounding the fact that you have the single country risk. And then you have all of this rising demand. And I want to drill into this rising demand a little bit more after your answer to this question. But my question is how did this happen to platinum? I mean, the supply is strict. It's low. It's constricted. You have high demand. I know we've lost some demand from palladium because of the fact that it was cheaper than platinum for a time, but that's changing now too. So how did this happen to platinum? How did platinum fall from $2,000 down to $750 with all of these facts? How did that happen?
Well, first of all, platinum was never considered money like gold and silver, so it never had the appeal going for centuries that it was there. When it was found, it was used for jewelry primarily. And, of course, the jewelry demand that we didn't talk much about has exploded in India. There's always been a yellow gold type jewelry, people building their wealth in metals. But now we see that it's gone to platinum, and platinum is just incredible for jewelry, how you can bend it and use it and make it. So we've had that pick up. And then, of course, the big thing to put on the map was a catalytic converter going back to the 1980 Clean Air Bill, when they had to come up with something that would produce the heating point that could get the clean air that was being mandated by the United States and then other countries around the world. So as they tested these metals, platinum came on the scene, and it roared on the scene. It was the new thing. I mean, when I first heard of it, I'd been in business 4 years, and I never traded an ounce of platinum. When I got a call from a wholesaler one day, telling me that platinum was going to go up and could buy it, I think it was $63 or $70 an ounce. I'd have to look back and see, but it was something like that. And then catalytic converter came on, and they started building it, and it had a thing, and then they started finding out that it actually first strengthened the glass. You would put it in places like Alaska and Siberia and drip platinum into the glass and make it would almost double the strength of it and keep the warm air inside. And then, of course, you saw it started, the jewelry came in, and that's been the biggest change the last decade has been the jewelry demand for it, where people have just become like platinum jewelry, the way it looks and how slick it is. It looks a lot slicker than silver. So all these new areas came into it. And I mean, I was very honest with you. In 1980, I was in the business and didn't know what it was. I was selling gold and silver exclusively those first 4 years until we started in platinum in 80 or 81. I don't even remember exactly. But that's how it got dropped by the wayside. But still today, Jerry, the investor is still in the dark with only 4% of current platinum coming out of the ground going for investment. I mean, it's like about 30% behind silver, where about 35% goes to investment, and gold is about 14 times or less for investment. So the investment area will pick up, and like I said, when you got something that's 46 times more rare than gold, always sold at a premium, now selling at a one-third discount, and with the electric car development in China, and with the ultra-high definition televisions and the new glass on smartphones and all these cell fuels and all this smart glass they're calling it, I mean, it is just the fundamental side is in a buy signal. I know there are going to be technical traders that are not quite convinced yet. So that's what our listeners have to decide, is whether they want to tiptoe in and get their place in platinum, because we definitely feel it's going to have a move, and as car companies switch from palladium back to platinum, then you're going to see the price of the auto catalyst demand at 22% of platinum right now go up to where like 55 or 60% of palladium goes to the auto catalyst converter. So it's a lot of good stuff we're following, and we'll continue to follow on your show, Jerry, on a weekly thing. We want to have a special show to bring this to your listeners' attention.
You know, palladium has really been the metal that here at Follow the Money we've been buying and using for our PACE portfolio. So we have an investment portfolio here for our members, our gold members and our platinum members. They have access to our PACE portfolio, which is precious metals, agriculture, commodities, and energy. And so whenever a new commodity or a new metal enters a new uptrend, well, we add it to our portfolio. And we added palladium to our portfolio last time back in July. It was the middle of July 2016. And it's still in the portfolio, in fact. And since that time, it's up 50%. And if you look back at all the other metals, gold and silver and platinum, they've suffered during that time, largely. But palladium has really been the winner. But looking at a technical chart now of palladium, it looks like those gains may be coming to an end, because possibly, now I can't say that for sure, but possibly, because when you look at the chart of palladium, you see something quite different. When you look at platinum, you see this brand new multi-year low that is hit for the third time, and the last two times it's rallied big. On palladium, when you look at the chart, you see a metal that has reached a previous high, which the last time it hit this high, it went down. So it's very possible that we're seeing a shift of fortune, so to speak, as you've stated, as demand, as in this industrial demand that has existed for palladium, because it has been cheaper. It traded at a discount to platinum for many years. And as you stated, I mean, palladium is largely used in these catalytic converters and automobiles. As auto growth grows, of course, the demand for palladium grows, and platinum. But now, with the development of these fuel cell electric vehicles, which are using platinum primarily for those vehicles, and quite a bit more than they use for typical combustible type of engine vehicles, you're going to see possibly a kind of an inversion here. Palladium may be topping out here, and so we have rode a nice 50% gain on palladium over the last maybe 18 months or so, maybe the last 2 years. But that looks like it might be coming to an end, because we've topped out. So it looks like they might be trading fortunes here. It looks like platinum might be stepping up.
It's hit 800. I mean, when I started talking to people about giving a buy signal on Monday, just 2 days ago, it was at 773. Now it's just hit 800 while we're talking, and I just know that it's a safe place to be. Palladium's right at 1,000, and platinum's right at 800. So you still got a 20% discount to platinum and palladium. What we're going to be tracking is when they cross, when platinum becomes more expensive than palladium, because as I said, sometimes I don't mind saying when I'm doing my own money, and I have sold palladium, and I have bought platinum because I like to, when I tell other people to do it, I don't feel right if I don't do it myself. So I can tell you, I made that switch yesterday, and I tripled my money on the palladium. It was 308 when I bought it. So I saw a tripling of it, and now I'm hoping to see a doubling of this platinum in the next 4 or 5 years, not 8 or 9 I mentioned earlier. But if I'm right, if it doubles in 4 years, and then certainly it's going to have to go about 18% a year. But that wouldn't surprise me at all if that were to happen.
So there you have it. Tom Cloud, the precious metals trader, actually stepping into the markets when he sees a discount, buying the metal, and then when he sees it get overstretched, he swaps it for another metal, and that makes sense. That's exactly what we're seeing. Palladium looks like it's had its run. Not to say it couldn't go higher, but certainly it's had a wonderful run, and it looks like platinum might be taking its place. Tom, we're just about out of time, and this has been really informative. I mean, we're calling this podcast the world's most precious metal because platinum is so rare, it's so scarce. There's so few people really even know about it, as you mentioned. It's not really an investment story, it's an industrial story, but it could turn into an investment story as more investors look for speculative opportunities. For those who are listening who say, I might want to pick up some platinum, tell them how they can do that. How does it work? What does that process look like?
Well, they just call us at 800-247-2812, and you'll see that on the screen, 800-247-2812. And this metal can be used in IRAs. If you've already got an IRA set up with us or you want to roll one over, you can buy platinum in an IRA as well as palladium, as well as gold and silver. So that's number one. So you call and you'll talk to Dan or Kathleen or myself, and we'll give you a price and lock it in, email you an invoice, and you send us a check, and 2 days after we receive your check, it clears, and we mail the metal to you. And the ones of you that are new, we pay once you're grandfathered in under Jerry and follow the money, you do not have to pay for any shipping. So we pay all the shipping charges. That's all included in the price that we'll give you. Plus, we won't charge you anything to rebroker it when you're ready to sell it, which we don't know of anybody else in the country that does that. So that's the way it works. It's pretty simple. Pick the phone up, call us that 800 number, and we talk about putting it into your IRA or into your individual investment. But I definitely would get in, and once again, the products are 10-ounce platinum bars, 1 ounce platinum bars, 1 ounce platinum maple leafs, and 1 ounce platinum eagles. But the premium is about $50, $60 higher per ounce for the coins, and there's no reason to pay that. In fact, it's more reasons to buy the platinum bar because it has to be bought and used and designated in any futures trading in platinum. So you want to stick with the bars, but certainly if you prefer coins, we can sell those as long as you realize they cost $50 or $60 more per ounce, which I don't think is worth it.
Fantastic. You've heard it here first from Tom Cloud. Platinum does appear to be a very compelling opportunity as we head into the remainder of 2018 and into 2019. The fortunes could be changing for platinum and palladium as they swap places very possibly as the supply picture is tightening, as platinum is now trading at the lowest price, in a long time. It's been a long time since we've seen these levels. And I tell you what, Tom, either platinum is simply too cheap or gold has gone too high. And I think we're probably looking at cheap when we look at the actual gold-platinum ratio. So platinum, it very likely has some upside here straight ahead. You can contact Tom Cloud at 800-247-2812, and when you do, let him know you heard about him from Follow the Money, and he'll throw in the free shipping. You can imagine how heavy those boxes are whenever you receive precious metals. I've received boxes from Tom, and they're extremely heavy, and so I'm always thankful that he pays the shipping when you deal with him through Follow the Money. So give him a call, 800-247-2812, ask your questions, and ask for that free shipping when you do. Tom, thank you so much for coming on the broadcast. It's good to have you back, and we'll have you back on again soon.
All right, Jerry. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Hey friends, this is Jerry Robinson from Follow the Money Weekly. Recently, we have been receiving many emails from our listeners commenting on the great help they're getting from our precious metals expert, Tom Cloud. Gold and silver are excellent hedges against the growing threat of coming U.S. inflation. Who's your gold guy? Make it Tom Cloud. With over 30 years' experience with precious metals, Tom will answer all of your questions. Don't buy your gold and silver through some call center and pay inflated prices. Call my good friend Tom Cloud and speak directly with him and get all of your questions answered. For a limited time, Tom is offering free shipping and insurance on every gold and silver purchase made by our listeners. Call 800-247-2812. And when you do, tell him that Jerry Robinson from Follow the Money Weekly sent you, and he'll throw in that free shipping and insurance on your entire order. Call your gold guy, Tom Cloud, right now for the very best deals on gold and silver coins. 800-247-2812. That is 800-247-2812. All right, friends, and that brings us to the end of our program. Thank you so much for tuning in and allowing us to be a part of your life each and every week right here on this broadcast. And as always, I like to leave you with a final word, this time by the man Mark Twain. He wrote, "The art of prophecy is very difficult, especially with respect to the future." Well, isn't that very true? Isn't it true that although we'd love to be able to tell you which direction every single stock or ETF or commodity is going to go, it's just simply not possible. The truth is we have to follow the trend. So platinum has pulled back to a $750 price level, which is very, very bullish, technically speaking, because that's been an area of support. So it could be that we see a rebound. But does that have to happen? Of course it doesn't. Prices move according to the market and according to the demand that's out there. And we cannot really change that. All we can do is follow the money. That's exactly what we're here to do. So remember, friends, when you want the truth, just follow the money. Have a safe and prosperous week, and we'll see you right back here next time. Until then, God bless.
The information contained on the Follow the Money podcast is strictly for informational and educational purposes. It should not be construed as specific investment advice. The views and opinions of our guests and sponsors, including Tom Cloud, are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of FTMDaily.com or Robinson Media Group, LLC. Jerry Robinson does hold an insurance license and at times may offer consulting on life insurance and fixed retirement income products. Follow-up, individualized responses to email or phone requests that involve the rendering of personalized investment advice for compensation will not be made absent compliance with state investment advisor registration requirements or an applicable exemption or exclusion and applicable insurance regulations. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You should be aware of the real risk of loss in following any strategy or investment discussed on the podcast. Remember, never do your financial planning through podcast or radio. It's your money. Be wise. Do your due diligence and always consult a trusted financial professional before making any financial decisions.